Well, hello there, motherfuckers. And I am sick, as you can hear in my voice. I'm very nasally. The mucus is up my nose. If there's anything that could have made me more sick, it would have been this show. And it succeeded. It surely did. I watched this show, and if anything, it made me feel worse. So, there's probably going to be some sneezing in this video. There might be some coughing, probably some runny nose. So just deal with it, people. I apologize for that, but, you know, obviously people get sick, and for the most part, you know, I haven't had a cold in a very long time. So, you know, it finally hit me. And if you're familiar with the weather here in New York, it's been fucking crazy. The other day we temperatures were at -2, and then today it's at 57 degrees. So go figure. Go figure. You know, like, how are you supposed to keep up with the ever-changing climate here? I don't know. It's fucking crazy. It reminds me of, you know, the episode of the Ninja Turtles when they used that weather sphere and launched it into the fucking air, and the turtles gotta stop it before New York is like covered in like a whole like fucking avalanche of snow. Whatever. Obscure reference there for you people. We start off with Becky Lynch and Stephanie McMahon. What a better way to like ruin the show right from the start. So, cringy Lynch, you know, what could be worse than a cringy Lynch that was crying on Raw, that was owned by Ronda on Raw? How could they make her look any worse? You know, we already have the connotations of, what is this nonsense I'm seeing? The Rock or Becky Lynch challenging each other on Twitter. I talked about the cringy Cena post on Instagram. But, you know, how much further are they going to go with her? They had her tap out at the Rumble, but then in the same breath, they want us to buy her as some type of badass. I'm sorry, but there's nothing badass about her. She's like a very pretty girl. She's not badass. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter to me if she wears a shirt that says The Man, or she, you know, walks around, you know, with her head like swiveling from side to side, or she wears a fucking leather jacket. That doesn't, or she started braiding her hair. Ooh, she started braiding it, you know, one little fucking braid, and we're supposed to be cowering in fear of, you know, the badass Becky Lynch. So Stephanie comes out, she says, you know, you're refusing medical attention, and Becky is not acting very badass here for someone who's supposed to be a badass. She's like, no, I don't want doctors near me. No, no, no. Like what is this like strange promo style she's adopted over several couple of weeks? Instead of it being like full force now, she's kind of like giving these one-word answers. She's like very proud, but in the same breath, it almost looks like she's trying to fight back tears. Okay, I'll play devil's advocate here. They're trying to make her super passionate. They're trying to make like, oh wow, you know, she's so committed to like main eventing at Mania. She got herself into the Rumble, and you know, it's like, you know, she has to fight back tears because she's so passionate. Bullshit. Stone Cold, when he had to retire, you remember that in 2003? Remember that when Eric Bischoff? It was kind of like the same thing when Bischoff faced him into retirement. I don't know, it's not really talked about a lot, but that was actually the storyline of how they wrote Stone Cold out of the ring. This was like similar, but like, you know, if you try to write the worst possible show possible, and, you know, really succeeded at doing so, you know, and you really tried to make that segment really, like, horrible and as bad as you possibly can, that's what it was like. And instead of Eric Bischoff, it was Stephanie McMahon. So, Stephanie says, you know, you're going to be suspended if you won't let the doctors look at you. And this is what the stupid thing is. But, you know, she's like, okay, so, you know, maybe your knee is worse than what you're letting on. That's why you won't let the doctors look at you. So then you're going to have to be suspended. So, okay, so then she ends up suspending her. Then Becky attacks Stephanie. And, okay, so that's fine. So Rousey already did that. They're kind of already overdoing it. But, okay, you know, they're trying to make it like Austin versus McMahon, right? Because Stephanie is a McMahon. And Becky Lynch is supposed to be Stone Cold Becky Lynch, right? So, oh, perfect. Hey, it's cringy as fuck. And, you know, as I said in the past, Stephanie McMahon is nowhere near as a good replacement as Vince McMahon, who I said was probably one of the best personalities they ever had on screen. So with that said, that's not even the part I'm complaining about. That's fine. Put her in the disarmor. Do what you gotta do. Get that out of the way. But then they copy the spot from Ronda Rousey. No doubt about it, trying to make her even Stevens with a fucking MMA world champion. So they have a guy who's bigger than her. Two guys come in. She fucking judo flips these motherfuckers. She don't know judo. she doesn't know Brazilian jiu-jitsu. She's not MMA trained. But, you know, she follows a few MMA fighters on Instagram. I really got to stop following her on there. I don't even know why the fuck I am doing so. And all of a sudden, she thinks that she could just start flipping men. So, you know, I did say it, like, you know, when Ronda Rousey did it. Okay, it made a little sense. Now, some of those guys are a little bit too big for her to be flipping. And then I remember PlayStation Guy 85 said to me, you know, Brad, come on. These guys were like over 6 feet tall. And then I said, you know what? You're probably right. I tried to say, you know, Rousey is a trained fighter. But at some point, it doesn't matter how much martial arts you know. At some point, the guy's just too fucking big. And, you know, Rousey is a girl. And, you know, they're like, how much does she weigh? 120, 130 pounds? She's tough as nails, no doubt about it. But, you know, we're talking about, you know, 6'5" motherfuckers getting flipped by, you know, a small woman. So, you know, you have to take that into account. And so, you know, okay, so it's already like kind of bad when they have Rousey do it. But then you're going to go ahead and you're going to tell me that Becky Lynch, who's like nobody, like who is she, you know? What I'm saying, she's just some fucking wrestler that they all of a sudden out of the blue label her a badass. And oh, she's the female Stone Cold just because. So, you know, she just starts flipping dudes for no fucking good reason. And that's the story here. So then when they get backstage, Rousey like gets in her face. She tells her, you know, ice and Advil, bitch. And, you know, just Becky Lynch is just taking this from Rousey. They don't even write her in to say anything back. Like, so if she's Stone Cold Becky Lynch, where's the retort? Where's the comeback? It's nowhere to be found. So Becky Lynch is, you know, taking it all on the fucking chin. You know, Rousey's right in her face, and she's just cool with it. Just letting, you know, her, like, fucking bash her right to her face. Okay, you know, it's their show. Whatever the fuck they want to do. However they want to book her. And, you know, I'm seeing online that they had a certain writer. Let me look up the guy's name real quick, because I wanted to share this with you guys. Because I don't think I'm going to make a separate video on it, but there was one particular writer that recently left WWE. What the fuck was this guy's name? This guy left, and, you know, he was taught. Oh, here we go. Bear with me, guys, here for a moment. The guy's name was Kazim Famoid. Okay, so anyway, so this guy, like, you know, he left WWE this week. And just to let you know, guys, like, he wrote a lot of the New Day segments. He's super proud of himself. He also wrote you know, the zinger with the Seattle Supersonics when Kevin Owens and, you know, and Elias was out there. And, you know, he's online taking credit for that shit. He's posting YouTube videos of some of his greatest hits. You know, and the guy, well, he's real modest. He goes, oh, you know, for all the shit talking they're doing, they wouldn't even last the day. Like, I guarantee you that many of them would do better. Even the most die-hard marks would do 1,000 times better than what the fuck they're putting out there right now. He called the writing team brilliant. If you're leaving the job, why don't you just fucking say that they're horrible? Are you thinking about going back there and you don't want to burn a bridge? Because if you're calling them brilliant, really? Brilliant? Like, I want to, like, just, like, put this into perspective here for people. So, if a show like WWE Raw is brilliant, then what does that make Larry David and Larry Charles of Seinfeld? Well, they must be fucking super genius, fucking supernova, fucking Albert Einsteins then, in comparison. Because that show's fucking shit is so bad. To say that the writing team is brilliant, what is so brilliant? He says they're funny and clever and, you know, they put together these amazing shows. Like, bro, you fucking suck. You damn well know you fucking suck. You see the ratings, but you're like, hey, I'm great, and everyone here is great. We're all great. Hurrah for us. You know, so if the case is that, and you're having so much fun, then why are you leaving? You know, it's like you almost know that it's a sinking ship. You don't want to burn a bridge. I get that. I understand that totally. I was like that too when I've left jobs. I always tried to go out on a high note. Try to do everything right. 2 weeks notice and all that shit. But, I mean, come on. Brilliant? You don't have to go that full force. You can still not burn a bridge. I'm so sick of all these fucking wrestlers on Twitter. Thanks for the opportunity, guys. You know, then as they go on to, like, you know, write other shit on Twitter that would totally contradict that. But whatever the fuck, you know, who cares? That guy is gone. And, you know, like, see, I'm saying, like, look at this opening segment. The brilliant writing, guys! So, after that's all said and done, we've got Ronda Rousey going one-on-one with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan gets beat. I really enjoyed the punch to the stomach. He taps out Liv. Then Liv actually sells the fucking arm pretty well here, because then up next is Sarah Logan. There comes a part where they're pulling Sarah Logan out, and Liv Morgan is still selling the arm. Oh, hey! Funny that the guy who won the fucking Royal Rumble is, you know, not selling. And by the way, the guy who won the fucking Royal Rumble, guess what? He wasn't here tonight, guys. Wasn't there. Guess why? Because he's injured. Hey, because he's a sloppy motherfucker who doesn't know how to work. But we're going to go ahead and probably put him over Lesnar at Mania, because he's the guy. Hey, hey, right? Yeah. Brilliant there. Fucking make the guy win the Rumble, and he's a danger not only to others, but to himself. It's the definition of a fucking violent, angry, insane person. Should be locked in a fucking institution, for God's sakes. Not main eventing a fucking major pay-per-view. You know, I'm kind of being a little silly here, but being a little bit honest at the same time. Why would they put so much stock in a guy that, look, when time comes around, he's injured? Then you've got Rousey tapping out Logan. Then, so, like, these two girls, they're, like, you know, brave enough. But for some reason, Ruby Riot's in there, and she won't get in the ring with her. So her two underlings are brave enough to get in the ring with her, but the leader is not. Another, like, can any heel on this roster be a tough heel? Do they all have to be chicken shit heels? Do they all have to play the same fucking role? Is it possible for them to be a badass heel? Whatever happened to a badass heel? I never remember during the Ruthless Aggression era and the Attitude era. And, you know, like, I never remember all the heels just running away every single fucking 2 minutes. And then you hear Ruby Riott backstage getting interviewed about friendship. Friendship? Can you imagine if the NWO or the DX talked about friendship or something? They might have talked about unity or brotherhood, but like fucking friendship? Like, you guys are heels and you're talking about fucking, hey, Ronda Rousey wouldn't know anything about friendship. Look at all my friends. I mean, dear Lord. I mean, that's how you write a heel pro. But remember, guys, these guys are brilliant. Told you there'd be some coughing. You know, Kazim says they're brilliant, so they're brilliant, guys. They're brilliant. Just like Xavier Woods said, all wrestling in the world is great. You know, and people actually still comment on that video today, saying that Xavier Woods was right. So, you know, us fans were just a bunch of fucking shitheads for criticizing the terrible product. Doesn't matter that the ratings are down. You guys are unreasonable. Expecting a good show. How fucking dare you expect quality? You know, you dedicate 3 hours to watching a terrible fucking show. Then you dedicate 2 hours to watching SmackDown. Fresh off of watching a fucking 5-hour pay-per-view, and if, God forbid, you watch the pre-show, you watch 7 hours of straight fucking nonsense, but shame on you, because you're unreasonable. You know, like, fuck us, man. We're monsters. We're inhumane, for fuck's sakes, for expecting a good show that doesn't fucking suck, that makes sense in the proper context of what a television show is supposed to be. God forbid we have standards. Holy fuck, who are we? Then you've got the Revival defeating Heavy Machinery, the B Team, and the Lucha. I always want to say Lucha Dragons, but it's Lucha House Party, for fuck's sakes. And what is Heavy Machinery doing there? Weren't they just on SmackDown? So they're on Raw, they're on SmackDown. Now here they are on Raw again. So they lost on SmackDown, back here on Raw, and then they lose again. Great debut, great few first weeks here. So they have fucking whatever the guy's name is, Dozer, whatever the fuck the dude's name is. I hear that they shortened their names. Now I don't even know what their names are. Thanks to another world famous McMahon name changer, name shortening. So now we don't even know what the fuck they're naming these guys anymore. And, you know, you have the guy coming out acting like a dumbass, you know, during the moment of bliss. The titles! And then you have them just fucking... He's doing the caterpillar. Oh, how cute. Get it? It's like Scotty 2 Hotty's worm, but the guy is a lot heavier. And, you know, he's got to come up with another fucking animal. So it's the caterpillar. So, you know, it can't be the worm, you know, because that would be too similar. So, you know, pick the next... Like, fuck, man. Like, honestly... For all intents and purposes, why the fuck would anyone want to watch this show? For example here, why would I want to watch this dude performing the caterpillar when I could simply, like, tune in and see, like, a good match, like Backlash 2000, and watch Dean Malenko and Scotty 2 Hotty in the match, and see Scotty 2 Hotty do the actual worm, who's 10 times more charismatic, 10 times more funny, 10 times more entertaining, and plus the show is better, and that's from a better era of wrestling altogether. So, like, why would I even watch a Raw from 2019 with some guy trying to be Scotty 2 Hotty and failing greatly at it? While at the same time trying to be a completely different character that I'm not even sure what that character is supposed to be. I know he puts tuna fish into fucking protein shakes, so he's like a fucking like mentally challenged, some sort of character like that. I don't know. I was kind of getting Festus vibes when he appeared during Moment of Bliss. You know, I thought he was going to lick somebody, but thank God that didn't happen. Then we have Zack Ryder backstage with Kurt Hawkins. Hawkins talks about, you know, what are you doing with me teaming? You're going to be a part of my losing streak. Then Zack Ryder talks about last week how they actually misspelled his name when he came out to the ring. That is fucking pathetic. I didn't even notice that because I said I watched this show in clips, so I didn't see Zack Ryder's entrance when they faced off against the Revival. That is fucking sad. And you damn well know that that wasn't just a typo. That was fucking bullshit on their part. They probably forgot how to spell his fucking name. They probably did because he hasn't been on Raw consistently. But it's like you think back to where this guy was in 2011. He was involved in segments with Hugh Jackman, with John Cena. He was U.S. champion. He was maybe one of the most over acts you've had in a decade. I'm not even fucking exaggerating here because the ratings were higher, for instance, when Zack Ryder was in somewhat of a higher upper mid-card position. So, you know, I know a lot of people say I exaggerate the popularity of Ryder, but I said there's so many stories you can tell here with Ryder. First of all, the guy is funny. He's got a personality. He's got a podcast, and he's proved it. They fucked him over with his show. He's got a new show now. The guy's resourceful. He's got a great physique. Probably one of the best, most proportional physiques I've seen in quite some time. And you know, the guy also has a great story behind him, also a cancer survivor, so you could bring that up, you know, during, you know, just because it's not breast cancer, you couldn't bring that up during Susan G. Komen. Also, during Connor's Cure, he couldn't talk to the Connor's Cure kids and tell them that I was, you know, also someone who survived cancer, you can too. Are they, like, fucking stupid? Do they not see that Zack Ryder is potential money for them? A cancer survivor. They want to sell that shit and they want to do charity. Why is he not plastered over all the fucking Connor Cure shit? He should be dealing with all that stuff. Can you imagine? And then put it in like with the figures and the deal with Mattel, you know, and he would give like figures to the kids. Let me tell you something. Mattel would love them for that shit. They would go gaga over that. That Mattel is looking like $1 million giving to kids that are cancer patients. Like, what? Like, how are they not seeing this opportunity here? I mean, honestly, I literally did not even have that shit written down on the paper. I just came up with that right now. I just thought of the Mattel deal. Thought of the major, you know, podcasts that they have about the action figures, and I just pretty much thought that off the top of my head. But, you know, as what Kazim said, we wouldn't last a day. You wouldn't last a day in a ninja pizzeria. You know, you also wouldn't last a day. You know, fucking you kissed McMahon's ass. You wrote probably you were a yes man. Whatever you say, Mr. McMahon. You know, so that was all it took for you to probably keep your job there for the year or whatever it was. Excuse me. Told you there'd be sneezing too. There's another one for you. So, you know, and also, I'll tell you this, in the Jewish religion, when you sneeze after you say something, it's deemed to be true. So, there you go. It's a little, you know, little wives' tale in there. So, I thought I'd throw that in there for you. So, it must be true. Show must suck, and it must be true what I'm saying about Zack Ryder. That the guy's money, potential money. Just gotta do it right and use their, you know, use their sensibilities a bit here. If they're so money hungry, how are they not thinking of these ideas? Unless they hate Ryder that much because that fucking guy, he wants to get over by himself. So there's a few things here. It's funny. It's like I'm listening to Stevie Richards where McMahon sent them home for 4 months without pay because he asked them on advice of how to get over more effectively. So if you ask how to get over, you get punished. If you don't know how, if you already know how to get over and you go ahead and you get yourself over, but they didn't help you do it, then fuck you. You're not going anywhere up that fucking car. So how are you supposed to win? Unless the stupid, retarded, dumbass writing team thinks of it first. Then we're going to go ahead and say, well, then you deserve it. And even if you get that far, because it's only going to be for a few months until we fucking job your ass out again. So, then we've got Bayley and Sasha. Oh, I'm sorry. I almost skipped over a whole segment. Kurt Angle comes out. Right? Kurt Angle comes out. And he sounds like he's about to retire. He thought that he could beat Corbin. He thought he could beat Drew McIntyre. But those matches didn't turn out the way he thought they were going to turn out. Obviously, they booked him the fucking job out and looked like a total loser. They also made him look like a goof on numerous occasions. Made him look like a goof during the Rumble, but it's father time. So apparently, that doesn't apply to Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Kane and Undertaker, but, you know, or Jeff Jarrett on this show. But for some reason, you know, Kurt Angle, he's too old. Even though he looks probably even better, not Triple H, will be realistic, but he looks better than, say, Jarrett, looks better than a lot of people on the roster. Fit as a fucking fiddle. And, you know, but you want to sell this story that, it's father time. He's not retiring. So Corbin comes out. He's still wearing a fucking dress shirt, even though he's not an authority figure. McIntyre comes out. I feel like McIntyre and Corbin been cutting the same promo. You know, you're old, Angle. I saw fear when I looked into your eyes. Okay, can we move past this already? Yes, we know there's fear when you looked into your eyes. Drew keeps doing this, you know, like miming when he held Angle's head. Okay, we get it. That was 2 months ago. Can we move on to something else already? Remember, okay, yeah, fear in his eyes. Okay, good. So, like, let's move on. Where's the next step to the storyline? So, then they come down. They start brawling with Angle. Braun Strowman comes out. We got a tag match for tonight. So, yeah, there you go. So, then there was Bayley and Sasha, and they defeat Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox. So, Fox is crazy. Nikki is also crazy. So, let's just throw them in a fucking tag team together. Let's not even try to establish Nikki as a character. So, anyway, Nikki Cross's team loses. Another great call-up from NXT. Bravo for that. I don't really have much else to say there other than it fucking sucked. Apollo Crews is backstage. Rockstar Spud approaches him, or Drake Maverick, and talks to him about, you know, why does he think that, you know, Angle is going to succeed tonight with Braun Strowman. And, you know, Apollo then starts insulting him. And then Razor comes. I think the other guy is injured. I think Toka, or whatever the fuck his name is, the partner, is injured. So he starts breathing really heavily. And then for some reason, like, Spud calls him off. Like, I don't know why he doesn't just attack Apollo after, you know, jawing off to him. But whatever. We've got Elias defeating Jeff Jarrett after a musical performance. I don't know, like, why they're under the impression that people liked With My Baby tonight. Like, let's get something straight. So, when Vince Russo took over and became head writer with Ed Ferrara, right? And McMahon basically said, I suck, take this shit over. One of the first things to go was the country music shit, right? They cut Jarrett's hair. They had him stop wearing that ridiculous outfit. Okay, he didn't wear that tonight, thank God. He went back to the classic trunks, the silver ones, which I like to see. He looks like he's in decent enough shape. Road Dogg is not. Road Dogg fucking looks like two Road Dogs. I don't understand, because it looked like on Instagram he was working out. He even commented on that, like, shit. So then Elias comes out, and then, you know, he says, what are you doing here, Road Dogg? He's like, you know, isn't it bad enough you're on SmackDown? He says, now you're going to tank the ratings on Raw too. And I was like, once again, are they fucking insane? I know people, the marks, are going to laugh at this. Oh, he burned them. Do you realize that they just had Elias come out there and just say, we hired someone completely incompetent who doesn't know how to write for a show? But I guess he's brilliant, right? Because all the writers are brilliant, according to Kazim. Like, are we honestly sitting here, like, saying that that was a good thing to say? It was funny for a moment, but I sat there and I actually didn't laugh. I was just like, oh shit, that was pathetic. Like, yeah, I guess good line and all that, but I was like, in hindsight, that shit's fucking dumb to say. We have a shitty show, guys. You know, here you go. Like, what? They just had to basically say that Road Dogg's killing SmackDown. Hey, Fox. Hey, how you doing, Fox? Yeah, Fox. Hey, this guy right here, Road Dogg, this is the guy who's going to be writing for SmackDown. And by the way, he sucks at his job. So just wanted to let you know that on national television in prime time. So when you buy the show for the $1 billion that you paid for it, I just thought that you'd like to know that. I thought that you know, just want to run that by you just in case you were curious who's responsible for this terrible show. Just in case you actually started watching the fucking show, seeing what you actually paid for, and wondering why you did so because of how absolutely terrible it is. Well, there you go. There's the culprit right there. It's, you know, it's Road Dogg, right? Road Doggy Dog over there, the roadie, right? And like I said, what are they thinking here? Like, with my baby tonight, the roadie, like I said it last week, do you realize that this was one of the first things to go during the Attitude Era? They made the roadie into the Road Dogg. They made him a New Age outlaw with Billy Gunn. They made Billy Gunn and Road Dogg drop their stupid fucking musician angles. You know, you had what was Billy Gunn called again? Oh, Rockabilly and the Roadie, remember? And they were a tag team, and then they broke off from the Honky Tonk Man, and the rest is history. So now it's 2019, and we're gonna bring back the wrestle crap. This is all fine and good. We're gonna come back and we're gonna say, oh, you know what? Since the show is so bad nowadays, that even with my baby tonight and the roadie, even that shit's gonna seem good in comparison. Now, I've heard that, you know, they're doing a rib on Jarrett. They want him to look silly. He looks like he's having some fun out there, but I'm sure he would much more appreciate a good angle. I like seeing Jarrett there. I like him there. I'm sorry, I know that Schleg Daddy is not a big fan, and I like Schleg Daddy, but I disagree with Schleg Daddy. I like seeing Jarrett there, and I'm a Jarrett fan, and you know, I don't really have a problem with them having him there. The way I saw he was working the match with Elias, he looks like he's better than a lot of these other guys there. He worked a slower paced match. It looked like a smarter match, you know. Didn't seem like he missed any cues. But it was like a 3-minute match. And Elias, like, just kind of beats him just out of fucking nowhere. There's no transition to the move. The Road Dogg is distracting him on the apron, but then he still beats Jarrett way too easily. Then Jarrett came out from behind and hits him with the guitar from the back, which was kind of cool. The guitar really didn't break, but whatever. You know, I guess, like, the guitars don't break as good unless they go over the person's head. I just don't like how guitar shots look over, like, the back or you know, or like on the shoulder. They just don't look as good. But whatever. I mean, it was alright. You know, I like seeing Jarrett in the ring, but there wasn't much there. It's like, I'm just thinking, it's like, this is just like a little novelty feud here. It's WrestleMania is like in 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. 2 months. Yeah, it's February. And this is the best that they could come up with for fucking Elias. I got a feeling he's probably going to be in the same position he was last year. No match. He'll appear backstage, maybe have a little musical performance, and then that's probably it. Because they don't have anything right now, no program, no nothing. And how is it that they timed it so perfectly? That it was the same thing like last year. This guy comes out there, and I will say this, Jarrett and Road Dogg look like stars. Road Dogg looks like he's gained fucking 60 pounds, but he still looks like he's a somebody. Elias comes out there, and he looks just as much of a star as these guys. And you know you don't hear me say that often. So you know I really mean it when I say it. That Elias looks like a star. He looks like he belongs with those guys that have been around for 20, 30 years. So that is really something, well, not that long. We'll say 20, 25 years. So with that said, you know, I think that he belonged, and, you know, it's just to see him in this position, like, this feud's not really going to go anywhere. What are they going to do with it beyond what they've already done? And then you've got Dana Brooke, who's complaining to Natalya, but then Natalya like doesn't hear anything, and at the end she takes out the wireless earbuds. I didn't hear a thing. Brilliant writing, just as Kazim said. I mean, right there, that's fucking amazing comedy. That's knee-slapping comedy. That's genius fucking. That's Tom Green, Howard Stern, George Carlin, Rodney Dangerfield, Jackie Mason, Don Rickles style comedy right there. Right up there with the top legends. I mean, that's some Bill Cosby. That's some Jerry Seinfeld. That's some Larry David. That's some Seinfeld level shit right there. That's some funny stuff. So as Kazim said, you know, that's brilliant writing. That's funny. That's talent right there. It's great stuff. You gotta give him a round of applause for that. You know, she thought that she was getting the silent treatment, but she wasn't because she had headphones on. That joke's never been done in cartoons. That joke's never been done by every single fucking sitcom under the sun that's failed. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, it's brilliance. Brilliance. It's brilliant, as Kazim said. Very fucking brilliant. Okay, so we've got Finn Balor, and, you know, he's cutting a promo. He's smiling. He's going to win the championship. So, Bobby Lashley comes out. You know, he's not going to give him a title match, but he's going to have him face Lio Rush. So, you know, he's injured. And, you know, now they're going to continue this feud with Bobby Lashley because, you know, he already lost to one big guy. So why not have him, you know, get beat up by another big guy, right? While still trying to sell the story that he's like David and, you know, he's like the giant killer. The only problem is he's never killed the giant. Still got to kill a giant because he still hasn't killed one yet. But, you know, we're going to go with that storyline anyway. He's the giant killer who has not killed a giant. So, you know, when they did it with Rey Mysterio, you know, Rey Mysterio beat Kevin Nash. You know, he beat Bam Bam Bigelow. He beat Scott Norton. You know, he was beating people. Big dudes, right? So that's not the story here. Now it's just, you know, he's a giant killer, but he's not killing any giants. I don't want him to kill any giants, but whatever. So he's going to have a match with Lio Rush. And the story here is that, you know, Bobby Lashley beats him up before the match. He's already injured from the match with Lesnar. And I guess, you know, they didn't even really mention that part. But whatever. You know, you're gonna have, you know, Balor face off against Lio Rush. And as I'm watching this match, I'm like, this looks more right to me than Balor versus another heavyweight. This looks like he belongs in there because he is a light heavyweight. He weighs under 205 pounds. So why is he not in 205 Live? I'll never understand that. Like, why is, for example, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that I want him to come onto the main roster, but why is, like, Mike Bennett, who has now a better build than Balor, because I've seen him on Instagram, the guy's pretty built, he had, like, a full, like, body makeover, he looks awesome. Why is this guy relegated? He had such notoriety in Ring of Honor. If anything, he might even be a bigger name than Finn Balor, from some respects, because he spent more time in Ring of Honor, which I think had more eyes on it than New Japan when it comes to the WWE audience. I think more of the current fans probably saw more Ring of Honor than they did New Japan. I don't know so much anymore. I don't care. But I'm just saying, why is Mike Bennett in fucking 205 Live and Balor's not? Why does he get to be the giant killer? And, you know, and Bennett's the one with the hot wife and all that, so, like, there's more there that you know, more of a presentation. But regardless, you know, we've got Finn Balor. So, this looks right to me. It does. But anyway, you know, Balor ends up beating him, whatever, gets in the terrible, you know, 2-year-old stomp. hopping up and down like a 3-year-old. The move looks terrible. Gets another win, and there we go. You know, so I guess Balor might triumph over Bobby Lashley with the, with the same fucking shit move. And then we get the EC3 moment. So, after, like, totally killing any hype with EC3, right? We've got him down in NXT for 2-3 years. Let him rot away there. Not getting any notoriety. We're losing money on NXT. But we're still going to do all these shows. Waste all this talent. We have all these goofballs on the roster, like the Revival, Heavy Machinery. All this worthless fucking, a bunch of people. 1,000 women's matches that no one's interested in. But let's keep EC3 down in NXT. And then we're going to have him on Moment of Bliss. And, just as he's about to talk, just as he's about to open his mouth to say something, Nia Jax comes out, insults him, interrupts him. Nia Jax starts talking, then Dean Ambrose comes out. He says that Nia's gonna, has a crush on him and everything. This goes nowhere. Like, he says all this to Nia Jax, and I gotta say, guys, what Nia's wearing, in the past I've actually said that I think that Nia's attractive. And, but the outfits that she's been wearing since the Royal Rumble are like these very stretchy outfits. Like, she's wearing like a fucking sweater. Like, she was wearing something like what I'm wearing. Like a fucking cardigan here. And this thing is like mad fucking stretched out on her. And it's all glittery and glamoury. And she looked like 5 times larger than what she really is. She needs to go back to the old outfits. Go back to that armored shit. Because that looked better on her than this stuff. So Ambrose comes out, and the whole deal here for this whole segment, so it's all about interrupting, because people getting interrupted is super funny to these fucking brilliant writers, right? Elias gets interrupted during his performance. Alexa complained to Nia Jax about getting interrupted. And now the gimmick with EC3 is that the guy's not able to talk, because every time he lifts the mic up to say something, somebody grabs the mic from him, somebody talks first. So, this is just comedy gold. I mean, this is brilliant. I mean, this is how you get somebody over. Take one of the absolute best talkers that you had in NXT. Take one of the best talkers that you probably have as a whole, as a company. One of the best talkers coming from Impact Wrestling, TNA. And what do you want to do with that guy? Well, you want to give him the early 2012 Jericho gimmick, right? He's not saying anything for weeks. So when they do give him a microphone, he doesn't get the opportunity to say something. So mute the most over guy on the mic. It doesn't get any more brilliant than that. That's really, like, I mean, Kazee, man, I gotta hand it to you. My whole outlook on this product has changed. I mean, that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, that would be like during the Attitude Era, if every single time Stone Cold came out, the glass hit, the music played, and he came out there to say something to McMahon. Imagine if they just cut his mic off. I mean, that just would have probably made the ratings triple right there. I mean, really. I mean, it really would have done wonders. I mean, you thought the Attitude Era was something. Now, can you imagine if they cut off Stone Cold's mic? I mean, because the best thing to do with somebody that's entertaining on the mic is to not let them entertain on the mic. I mean, what could be more brilliant than that? I mean, seriously, I mean, what were you thinking? Did you really think that they were going to let him cut a good promo? Did you actually think they were going to have him come out there and showcase his linguistic talents? I mean, of course not. I mean, because he's good on the mic. And he came from Impact Wrestling, so let's fuck him over. Let's make him look fucking goofy as shit. And what's that? What's that you say? Dean Ambrose is on his way out because they made him look like a fucking dork the past few months, and I don't blame the guy. And he'll probably end up in the fucking AEW shit, the A&W root beer company. You know, it'll probably end up in Cody Rhodes land. You know, it'll probably end up in Young Bucks territory. I mean, okay. You know, I see what they're doing here on this show. They're flooding out all the fucking, you know, indie guys. And, you know, we've got the Revival here and all this shit. So, okay. So, you know, with that said, it's like, you know, you want to be able to showcase probably a great character on your show. And you silence the guy. And, you know, and I will admit that was a good line, you know, what happened to EC1 and 2, because I kind of thought about this. EC3, his name is Ethan Carter III. He's supposed to be Dixie Carter's nephew. But the only problem is, this isn't TNA anymore. This is the WWE. They don't want to call him Derek Bateman anymore. That's their problem. I'm not going to bother analyzing it. All I'm saying is, you probably want to have the guy say something, since he's so good with promos, the first time he's out there. So, of course, the first victim for EC3 is going to be Dean Ambrose, because fuck him, he's leaving anyway. So, you're going to be jobbed out all the way to Mania, buddy, if you even have a Mania match at all. So, let me get this straight. The guy comes back after a career-threatening injury, a life-threatening injury. They even went on to say it at some point, because his elbow got infected. There was some pretty nasty stuff going on with Ambrose. So, it was a great story. They didn't tell that story when he came back. They waited a few months, but whatever. The night when Roman Reigns announced, you know, that he was going to be out with leukemia, you had Ambrose turning on Seth. It was a great story. You know, it was over. You know, Ambrose looked like a big heel when he turned on Seth. And then they fucked it all because some people complain, ooh, it's too edgy. You know, social justice warriors complained. So they did a few changes. Yeah, a few changes from the brilliant writing staff. And before we knew it, he was coming down to the ring with a gas mask on his face and talking about how much people smelled. So it's a real big mystery of why he's leaving the company. So they have EC3 go over Ambrose, and he wins with a roll-up with a jackknife cover. Very impressive win there. You know, during your debut, win with the roll-up. I mean, like, honestly, like, this is just point for point how I would have expected EC3 to debut. Is it, like, impossible for them just to maybe have him involved in the program? Could they have at least had him cut a promo with Ambrose? Like, okay, have him work with Ambrose. That's probably not who I would pick for the first person for him to work with. But I'm just saying, like, this is the best you could come up with. This was the brilliant writing staff that was just spoken about by Kazim. Must be brilliant. I mean, because, you know, maybe that's the thing, guys. Maybe we're just so dumb and they're just so brilliant that we just can't comprehend this shit. I mean, it's on a whole nother plateau. It's on a whole other universe. And our minds are just simply not as developed as these sheer prophets of you know, higher intelligence. I mean, this is almost like celestial. I mean, these people are like, they're on a whole nother level of intelligence and thought. So, I mean, we just might be just so fucking stupid that we just don't understand what they're trying to convey through these elegant, you know, tales that they're saying. These are such elegantly woven tales of just such great storytelling. I mean, this is like Oliver Twist. I mean, this is like, just like any story that, like, this is like Julius Caesar. This is like Othello. These are some great classic, like, literal works here that we're looking at right here. So then we have Mojo Rawley talking to himself in a mirror, and I'm so sure that this is just going to finally be his big break. Did I say that enough with a straight face? I think I did. But, anyway, we move on to the main event. And it is Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin defeating Kurt Angle and Braun Strowman by disqualification. So, you know, we've told the story how Angle keeps losing. Apollo Crews believes in Angle. So you probably want to have, now that he's with Braun, he's going to win that match, right? Of course, he's got Braun Strowman with him. I know that Braun can't beat Brock Lesnar, but he basically wins all the other matches. And he couldn't beat Seth in the Royal Rumble. Okay, but at least he made it last. But, okay, whatever the point is, Braun is the unlikely partner of Angle. Definitely, most assuredly, he is going to win this match because Angle has been losing. He's been looking terrible. So the best way to go about this is to simply have, you know, Braun inserted in there and just have him look good with Angle. So it's not really, I just probably wouldn't have had Angle look like a fucking moron at all, but whatever. So you want to do something, and I'm all for anything that makes Angle look better than where he's been the past few weeks. But they don't do that. So you want to hear about the finish, and I guess it's even funnier if you didn't see it. So this is probably, you know, I think it's probably funnier for the people who watch my vids who don't watch the product. So this is exactly what happened. And stop me, I will leave a little bit of a pause in here if you could figure out what's wrong with this picture. So they're having the match, and then it comes down to Braun and Corbin. Now, because Corbin is not the legal person in the match, it's Drew McIntyre. Braun hits Corbin with his hands, and this results in the end of the match. Pausing here so you can tell me what's wrong with that picture. What's wrong with that scenario? What's wrong with the finish of that match? I'll tell you, dear viewer. How many times have we seen an illegally, you know, inserted competitor? Like, you know, usually doesn't the ref count to 5? I watched wrestling for many years, usually. So, like, okay, so for example, earlier in the night, the Revival won a fatal 4-way tag match. And they hit their finisher, the Shatter Machine, which involves 2 wrestlers piling onto one. Now, obviously, one of those wrestlers is not legal in the match, right? But somehow, some way, that match didn't end in disqualification, even though both of those wrestlers were touching. Now, we fast forward to the main event where this is even bigger stars, way bigger than the fucking Revival. We're talking about Kurt Angle. We're talking about Braun Strowman. So now that we have those guys in the ring, all of a sudden there's new rules applied to tag matches. You can't touch the other opponent at all. So the match gets called a disqualification due to this new rule in tag matches. Well, we can't touch anybody. Once the other person tags out, can't even touch them for 5 seconds. So that to me, I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, you couldn't think of any other way to end this match with a chair shot or something. You had to go with something as lame as shit as that. And so then it ended with a choke slam on the steel steps. And I have to ask the question, why wasn't the match just called right there? You could have forgotten about the illegal fucking man shit, and you could have just went right for the steel chair choke slam spot. And that would have looked 10 times better. But they didn't take that route. They went with the route they took. And there's your show. That's the end of the show, guys. That's the end of the review. And that was absolutely fucking terrible. I mean, if it was even possible for the show to be worse than last week's, they succeeded. I mean, this was so fucking... You don't even have your Royal Rumble winner. He's injured, Brad. Well, let me ask you a question. Why did they pick the most injury-prone star to win the Rumble? Like, I don't get this. So, Braun Strowman can't win the world title because he shows up to the arena late. But the guy who constantly gets injured, who's, you know, taking people off the shelves for months. In fact, one of those guys was Finn Balor, who some of you like, and, you know, and faced off against Brock Lesnar. You know, that's all fine and well. So it's okay that he's a danger to himself and others, but Braun shows up late, hasn't hurt anybody, and that's bad. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you here. So, like, I mean, this was a headache right here. Got a cold. I'm watching this show. I'm just fucking, like, disgusted with every single minute. Kurt Angle is on the roster, if you haven't noticed. I mean, I've been saying that shit to myself now for 2 fucking years. Kurt Angle has been there since early 2017, and they haven't done fucking anything with this guy. Oh, he's the GM. Okay. I mean, you have a legend, one of the greatest of all time, right there. I'm not even using hyperbole there. Kurt Angle, in my opinion, is one of the greatest of all time. And when I finally do my top 10 WWE stars of all time list, I will be sure to inform you exactly where Kurt Angle falls on that list, because he will definitely be on there. So, there you go, guys. There's your Raw review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, this has been your YWC Champ, and I'm signing out.